Look at the nice sunsets we get here. It's almost like being out west.
There's a saying, if you do what you love,
Just always wanted to be a rancher.
you'll never work a day in your life.
That's all I ever wanted to do.
Wes Johnson is living proof that's simply not true.
You don't get no days off unless you got somebody to keep an eye on a place. That was a brand new one yesterday, that little one following his ma.
Johnson has had cows since he was 9, bought this ranch just north of Orr back in '93. Right now, he's got 450 head of cattle, give or take.
That's when the wolves get started on them. They find those new calves when they're hiding out.
Johnson's ranch has a wolf problem.
Tracks. Isn't that a print right there? 10 years ago, that we know they took 19 calves. They hit us really, really hard that year.
Yeah.
The folks at USDA Wildlife Services are all too familiar with the unique situation, which they believe comes down to location.
If you go east of here into more northeastern Minnesota, there's lots of wolves, but there's no issues because there's no livestock. So it's where the wolves and the cattle overlap in that kind of forest, ag, private land, public land is where most of them happen.
So, when wolves attack Johnson's cows, Wildlife Services traps and kills them, which you'd think would solve the problem.
So they killed 3 wolves this year.
But it created a new one for Tom Gable.
2 of the 3 animals that they killed were actually yearling wolves that we tagged as pups last year. That's a big hit to our research.
Tom heads up the Voyagers Wolf Project.
Oh, that's probably O0C.
The U of M researcher and his team have been collaring and studying the wolves around the park since 2015. His project, too, is all about location, as there are 3 to 4 different wolf packs living in the area. So far, 1 out of every 4 of their collared wolves that have died were killed on Johnson's ranch.
There was this sort of endless conflict that was happening every year. Cattle were getting killed, wolves were being removed, and so it seemed like there had to be a better way to kind of go about this.
There was
So Tom says, what do you think about a fence?
a fence, 7.5 miles of fence to be exact, around the entire perimeter of the property.
He's got some bounce in his step. He's going to want to build fence today, son of a gun.
Rancher and researcher joined forces with some other unusual partners. Money for the project came from the USDA, Minnesota Department of Ag, the International Wildlife Coexistence Network, Wes himself, and get this, the Humane Society.
If we didn't have that, if one group said, like, I don't want to deal with that, I think the project would have been dead.
Materials showed up, and Tom and team got to work.
Oh, them kids work hard. Let's go build some fence. They're gung-ho as hell.
Gosh, look at how thick this stuff is.
They cleared brush, put in posts, and laid the fence and apron.
So this is the apron fencing. It's a 26-inch fence that is put on the back side of the fence to prevent wolves from digging in.
And video shows that so far, it's working. There's still about 1.5 miles left to go, and the key will be to make sure there are no gaps.
Oh, there's a wolf.
Wolves are sneaky smart.
That's a good indication of why we're gonna need to button up all these little places like that.
Every hole matters.
You know, I hope this downturn ain't coincidence with this fence. I hope the fence is working.
I think I'm pretty sure it is.
What at first seemed like a monumental task has produced some monumental outcomes.
I think there's very few instances in conservation where you have solutions that everybody agrees, like, this is great.
We actually kind of got to be friends over this whole deal.
And one monumental lesson.
There's a smart one over there. He's laying in that cool mud.
Do what you love.
You need gold here.
You may have to work, but in the end, it's worth it.
You can make things work if you try, you know. Just everybody got to work together a little bit.